Hello, I just got my copy of Oppidum. Oppidum is a new game released this year by French company Historicone, and it is kinda new entry of the well-known and old family of the Cry Havoc games. The series itself started in the early 80s and was quite popular back then. Get a lot of games of the series, but it died in the mid-90s. In the new century, it was reborn thanks to the Historicon that released a couple of games of the series as a Norman saga in general, mostly focused on the Norman battles and campaigns fought in the 11th or 12th century. They also released, about 3 years ago, a game Sherwood. Sherwood was a kind of starter set for the series, focused on the Robin Hood lore. And thanks to this game, I discovered the entire family, its history, etc., and found Sherwood extremely cool game. Not only great when it comes to the graphics and quality of the game, but also very funny, playable, and enjoyable. So I played it a lot, made a couple of videos on my channel about Sherwood itself, and now I got Oppidum, a new game of the family. As you can already say, this game is bigger when it comes to the box, but it is also focused on the very different thing than all the other games of this series. So far, all the Cry Havoc or Norman Saga games were focused on the medieval times. Of course, each game was focused on a bit more different topic. For example, when it comes to the Cry Havoc games, there were games focused on Vikings, there were games focused on samurais, even one or two games set up in the some fantasy era. But mostly these were focused on the medieval days. And now we have a game that moves into ancient times, into days where Caesar conquered Gaul. I guess that probably some of you who had to learn Latin or studied history know about Caesar, and mostly about his famous De Bello Gallico journal, which became a monument of the not only Latin literature itself, but about when it comes to the how to write history. Just like all the other games of the series, Oppidum is not focused on the big battles. No, these games are mostly focused on the skirmishes or small-scale fights between a couple of characters, because of the unique scale of the series that focuses on not only on units, but on the certain characters, since each counter depicts a single person. So here we have a board, we have a box. It's pretty big itself, I have to admit, and here we have a pretty nice graphic. I really like when the games comes with such dynamic, nicely looking pictures. You can see on the Sherwood we had the same situation. I really like this cover, and Oppidum is also pretty good. And on the other side we have a lot of information in both English and French about content, about complexity, solitaire suitability. As you can see, complexity is not very high and solitaire suitability is pretty big, because this series comes with no hidden rules. So you can play it solo if you like, and it still be fun. I played the other games solo and I enjoyed it a lot, so I guess this will work fine here. We have some examples of graphics, boards, etc. And now let's take a look inside. So we have two books, I will talk about them later, and now we have a couple of player aids. An interesting thing is that I get in my copy This player aids in English and also in Polish. So I believe if you are going to purchase the game and you are you want to get this player aids in your language, you have to ask the publisher, and maybe they will have these player aids in your own language. So that's pretty cool. So here we have player terrain table. As you can see, there is a lot of types of terrain in this game, just like in the other games of the series. This is a single man scale, so you can tell that a lot of different kinds of terrains are necessary. And now on the other side we have all the other tables. So we have combat table, we have missile table, and some aids like how to rotate the horse warrior, and how many movement points you have to pay when you are rotating, and that's something new. That's something that wasn't in the previous games. Just like this, these are new things. Well, game moves into different era, so I guess it makes sense that it brings a lot of new rules as well. There are 2 copies of this, each for each player, I believe, and here we have also weapon tracking sheets. I believe these are used when you have to load your weapon. So sometimes it takes time to load and reload your weapon before you will be able to use it, and that's where these weapon tracking sheets might be necessary. Okay, next we have a couple of boards. These are pretty big boards, and they are made in the same graphic style as all the other games, all the other boards of the series. So these boards can be linked together and used in the different games. For example, this spring board can be used in every other era. It is perfectly fine to use it for your medieval battles as well. Next we have a riverbank board. Oof, nothing new here. I guess this is a pretty normal Cry Havoc board, but this is going to change because we are moving into more ancient boards, let's say it like this, because as you can see here we have a fragment of Roman, I think Roman fortifications with some wall, gate, and some tents. I believe these are tents, I think. Next we have one more fortification board titled Oppidum with some buildings, and also a wall, another gate. So I think these boards can be linked together to create a big fortification part. And finally, another board. This is a Reach. So another pretty normal Cry Havoc board that you can use in all the other games of the series. And one more, it is Contra Valation, I believe. Board showing mostly a wall with some obstacles to move through. So I guess this is going to be used to show Gallic assaults on the Roman camp. I think so. We will see. So that's all when it comes to the boards. As you can see, there is a lot of boards in this box. And now we have something that I really like in this series: counters. I like them. I like how pretty, I think this is a good word, how pretty they are. As you can see, each character has 2 counters if he is foot warrior, or even 4 counters if he is horse warrior, because mounted warriors have 2 counters for their mounted side, and 2 counters for his food version. So that's really impressive. As you can see, these counters are really nice. Here we have Romans, here we have Celts, along with the famous nude warriors. But please notice that Celts also have their heavy cavalry. That's not something you can see often. There are also ponies and chariots. And here we have Germans. Oh, there are even druids. And of course some markers like fascines, screens used to protect your warriors against enemy missile. Here we have ladders, gateway counters, etc. A lot of these, not as much as in the for example big Norman Saga games, but 3 times more, I believe, than in the Sherwood game. Or maybe 2 times, I think 2 times. Okay, even so, there is a pretty big number of counters and even bigger number of boards. There is a lot of boards here. So now let's take a look on these books. We have 2 books, Rules and History and Scenarios. Let's take a look on the rules first. This is, I'm going to see, 15 pages big, and it is something that you can call programmed rulebook. What it means? You have a part of the rules with some informations, etc. And after reading a certain section of rules, it says that don't read any further, you can already play scenarios in the group 1. So that's something that some of you might remember, for example, from the Squad Leader game that introduced this way of writing a rulebook, when you don't have to read the entire rulebook to start playing your game. You can read a part of the rulebook and then play a couple of scenarios. You can read another part of the rulebook and play a couple of next scenarios until you will make your way through the entire rulebook and you will be able to play all the scenarios. So that's something different from, for example, Sherwood, where you had to learn the entire rulebook to play the game, but from the other hand, Sherwood had a much shorter rulebook with not as many rules as this one. As you can see, every rule comes with example. That's what I like in Historicone games. They are pretty good when it comes of explaining the rules. I haven't much of the problems with these games. I never found that I need to ask about something because something is not very clear in the rules. It's usually pretty well explained, and when you read, you know how it works. So here we have a second part of the rules. This time these are focused on the buildings, and here we have another part focused on the siege warfare. And well, this is going to be longer because siege rules are usually a bit complex, but I don't think this game is going to be complex in general, because this is not something that the entire family was about. Because since the times of the Cry Havoc and then during the days of the Norman Saga, these games were never meant to be complex. These games were meant to be cool, fun to play and replayable, rather than extremely complex and rules heavy. So even as you can see, the entire part of the siege warfare takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages, and that's all when it comes to the game. So this is not going to be a very big thing. And now, history and scenarios. We have pretty big and nicely illustrated part that depicts history of the Caesar's conquer of Gaul. And now we have an information about each unit. And here we have a little info about boards, and finally scenarios. There are 16 scenarios in this game, so that's a pretty big number, and that's something that I like. And now scenarios usually for the series can be divided into different types, focused mostly on the size of the board. Good scenarios are usually two boards big or bigger, because when you play small-scale scenarios played on the single board, these are usually pretty short and straightforward. But when you get bigger ones played on the 2 or more boards, these are getting a bit more epic. So, as you can see, most of these scenarios are played on the 2 boards. And this is a good size, I believe. Well, but we have some single board, I think. Yes, this is single board scenario. But, well, most of them are 2 board size. So that's pretty good. This is just fine for my table also, because fitting 3 boards together on the table might be sometimes a problem. But when you have a 2, this is just fine to set up on almost every table. Oh, here we have, yeah, here we have 3 boards. So this is going to be a bit more bigger table, but well, 16, there was 16, let me see, I don't want to make it wrong, yes, 16 scenarios, so this is a pretty good number of scenarios for a tactical scale game, and very interesting and unusual topic. So that's what makes this game pretty unique. Also, very good graphic, as you can see. Well, I know that some people doesn't like boards, how they look, etc. But I always like them, and I like the fact that you can use all these boards in every other game of the family. So it's perfectly fine if you have some other games of the Cry Havoc or Norman Saga series, so you can take these boards and use them with your other boards, or from the other hand you can take the boards from some other games and used for Oppidum. That's perfectly fine. So I think I'm going to play this game on my channel too, so I guess week or 2 and you will see first place of Oppidum as well. So that would be all for today. Thank you for watching and see you next time.